hair problems. Seriously, for the first time, somebody actually, like when he was in the shower with Han Solo, that was genuinely funny. I laughed out loud for that one.
Do you know? I think this is the first movie that's not played by the original person.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He seemed slender. He seemed like a younger Wookiee.
It was
only 190 years old, I believe.
I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so I apologise.
Jamal?
Jonas Suotamo. That's wrong.
No, that's correct.
He's a Finnish actor / basketballer. So he's a tall bloke.
He would have to be.
And I actually thought, wow, he actually did a right job.
He did a good job. Yep. I didn't think Swedish sounded like that, but there you go.
Well,
hi to everyone in Sweden. We're only joking, guys.
Actually, no. It was an overall pleasing film.
We have actually quite a few people in Sweden who listen to us. Did you know that?
Finland or Sweden?
Sweden.
Oh, okay, well, there you go.
Yeah,
they're two different countries.
Well, or at least have one person who listens multiple times.
I like those people.
Yeah. Crack on, guys. Good stuff.
Okay, so was there anything really bad that you didn't like about it?
Not off the top of my head, no.
No, just overall enjoyable film.
It was nice. It was tight. It was well done. It was well made. It was lots of special effects. It's what Star Wars should be. And it was entertaining to boot.
Well, there you go. What star rating would you give it?
Oh, you know what? How do I rate it up against Shawshank Redemption? I think I'm going to give it. I think I'm giving it a 7.5. I think.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll give it a 7. I thought it was all right, and it's good to sit there and watch it. It wasn't hard work or anything. If you know about Star Wars, you get these little bits of information like the Millennium Falcon and Chewbacca and all that rubbish.
Right.
But if you haven't watched it, it doesn't really matter.
Right. I'd actually just give it a 7, a straight 7.
Well, then 7. Yeah. 7's
because
all
I
around.
think it's a good film. A 7 is, to me, in my never humble opinion, is a good film. 7, 8, very good film. 9, an excellent film. 10, stop the press. We've got an absolute classic on our hands.
Yeah, but just because you say 10 doesn't make it a 10. But 7, I agree with you.
You disagree with me on the fact that Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels is not a 10.
Well, I said 9, didn't I? So we did.
You
disagree.
said 9.5.
Did I?
And it was only because
I didn't realise I was going up to half.
You skirted out on the fact that you didn't want to say 10.
I never say 10. I don't stop the press for anything. Badum. So 7 and from Paul and 7 from me.
Yes.
So yes, Han Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yep.
Now, Paul,
would you recommend it to people watch? To people watch?
I'd recommend it to some people because some people I don't think would appreciate it, and I think other people would.
Who wouldn't appreciate it?
People who don't like Western spaghetti space films. And there are some out there that don't like those sorts of films.
And basically, if you saw Firefly and you didn't like Firefly, don't watch this.
Okay.
Firefly.
I didn't like Firefly.
Okay.
But I found this okay. We've talked about this.
Sometimes, Pip, you find new ways to disappoint me.
Every day. So, Paul's magic movie moment.
Paul's magical movie moments.
What is it this week?
You know what?
What?
I've just forgotten.
I remember you telling me. Would you like a hand?
Well, No, I can remember this.
Can you?
I'm sure of it. No, you better tell me.
Seriously, have you forgotten?
I've forgotten.
We're discussing before we pressed record.
I know.
You said to me,
I can't wait until I get Alzheimer's and then I've got an excuse.
You were going to me, do you remember that...
What's his name? Early onset.
Do you remember in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. That's right, yes.
When Dr. John Penton's mother's talking to Matt Drader, Spencer Tracy, so she's giving him a serve.
Pip, I love your brain. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because you just saved me. And
That's
that sounded
okay.
very professional. Well done.
Well, you just said that to me.
I know, but then
record.
you went off and then researched what I just said. Like you went back to a previous pages and pulled out all the relevant...
I've got it all written down. That's why I've got the book in front of me.
As I said,
the black book.
I love your brain. It's great.
Seriously,
Thank
we should
you.
have a magic movie moment of Simon Pegg explaining to Nick Frost the benefit of the black book.
The black book. Very good. All right. Okay. Well, on that note, I shall start the projector up. Hang on a sec, I'll just get the reel out. And it doesn't work. God damn, bloody old projector, seriously.
I've been talking to your husband, Mrs. Prentice. He seems pretty much upset by all this.
I know. Your wife says you are too, Mr. Drake.
Well, not upset exactly. It's a very difficult problem.
For whom? For you and my husband? I think you'll solve your problem, all right. All you have to do is tell them you're against them. That's all. And you'll have no problem.
You're not going to tell me that you're happy about this relationship?
This is not a night for talking about happiness, Mr. Drayton. This is an unhappy night.
You've been talking to Christina. I know how she feels. Can you imagine for 1 minute that I want to see either one of them hurt?
No. No more than my husband does. But hurt, they're going to be. Worse than my husband knows. I think worse than you know too, Mr. Drake. What happens to men when they grow old? Why do they forget everything? I believe those two young people need each other like they need the air to breathe in. Anybody can see that by just looking at them. But you and my husband you might as well be blind men. You can only see that they have a problem. But do you really know what's happened to them? How they feel about each other? I believe that men grow old. And when sexual things no longer matter to them, they forget it all. Forget what true passion is. If you ever felt what my son feels for your daughter, you've forgotten everything about it. My husband too. You knew once, but that was a long time ago. Now the two of you don't know. And this strange thing for your wife and me is that you don't even remember. If you did, how could you do what you were doing?
How about your glasses? Can I get your drink, either Mr. and Mrs. Prentice?
No, thank you.
John? Mike? No, you've had enough as it is already.
Dad? What's going on?
There's something I want to say, and I'd like you to sit down and see if you can keep quiet for once in your life. Please, sit down, John. Sit down, Chris, please. I have a few things to say, and you might just think they're important. This has been a very strange day. I don't think that's putting it too strongly. I might even say it's been an extraordinary day. I've been out there thinking about the day, and the way it has gone, and it seems to me that now I need to make a few personal statements for a variety of reasons. The minute I walked into this house this afternoon, Miss Bink said to me, well, all hell done broke loose now. I asked her naturally enough to what she referred, and she said, you'll see. And I did. Then after some preliminary guessing games, at which I was never very good, it was explained to me by my daughter that she intended to get married. And that her intended was a young man whom I had never met, who happened to be a Negro. Well, I think it's fair to say that I responded to this news in the same manner that any normal father would respond to it, unless, of course, his daughter happened to be a Negro, too. In a word, I was flabbergasted, and while I was still being flabbergasted, I was informed by my daughter, a very determined young woman, much like her mother, that the Marriage was on, no matter what her mother and I might feel about it. Then the next rather startling development occurred when you walked in and said that unless we, her mother and I, approved of the marriage, there would be no marriage.
You didn't. What a funny thing to do.
Joey, this may be the last chance I'll ever have to tell you to do anything. So I'm telling you, shut up. Now, it became clear that we had one single day in which to make up our minds as to how we felt about this whole situation. So what happened? My wife, typically enough, decided to simply ignore every practical aspect of the situation and was carried away in some kind of romantic haze which made her, in my view, totally inaccessible to anything in the way of reason. Now, I have not as yet referred to His Reverence, who began by forcing his way into the situation and then insulting my intelligence by mouthing 300 platitudes and ending just a half hour ago by coming to my room and challenging me to a wrestling match. What time is your plane?
10:45.
Right. Now, Mr. Prentice, clearly a most reasonable man, says he has no wish to offend me, but wants to know if I'm some kind of a nut. And Mrs. Prentice says that, like her husband, I'm a burnt-out old shell of a man who cannot even remember what it's like to love a woman the way her son loves my daughter. And strange as it seems, that's the first statement made to me all day with which I'm prepared to take issue. Because I think you're wrong. You're as wrong as you can be. I admit that I hadn't considered it, hadn't even thought about it. But I know exactly how he feels about her. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that your son feels for my daughter that I didn't feel for Christina. Old? Yes. Burned out? Certainly. But I can tell you, the memories are still there. Clear, intact, indestructible. And they'll be there if I live to be 110. Where John made his mistake, I think, was attaching so much importance to what her mother and I might think. Because in the final analysis, it doesn't matter a damn what we think. The only thing that matters is what they feel and how much they feel for each other. And if it's half of what we felt, that's everything. As for you two and the problems you're going to have, they seem almost unimaginable. But you'll have no problem with me. And I think that when Christina and I and your mother have some time to work on him, you'll have no problem with your father, John. But you do know, I'm sure you know, what you're up against. There'll be 100 million people right here in this country who will be shocked and offended and appalled at the two of you. And the two of you will just have to ride that out. Maybe every day for the rest of your lives. You can try to ignore those people, or you can feel sorry for them and for their prejudices and their bigotry and their blind hatreds and stupid fears. But where necessary, you'll just have to cling tight to each other and say, screw all those people. Anybody could make a case, and a hell of a good case, against your getting married. The arguments are so obvious that nobody has to make them. But you're two wonderful people who happen to fall in love and happen to have a pigmentation problem. And I think that now, no matter what kind of a case some bastard could make against your getting married, there would be only one thing worse.